what's on your mind. You talk it out. You got the time. You thought about it. Let's talk about it. No doubt about it. I got you. ValTrenda all day.
Oh my God. Welcome to the ValTrenda Show, your headquarters for melanated mental health. Thank you for continuing to watch. Thank you. I'm reading all of your comments on social media and on the ValTrendaShow.com. I'm here for all of it, all the juice, all of it. So keep sharing and keep the stories coming as well as the testimonies. In episode 4, we were talking about our health and as it relates to our mental health. So our physical health connected to our mental health. It was a great episode and extremely informative. So if you haven't watched any of the episodes, it's the perfect time to start the ValTrenda Show binge. Make sure you tag me and tweet all the time. Tell your mama, tell your daddy, and your kids. Now, speaking of kids, how are your children? Have you checked in on them? Have you inquired about their mental health? Have you asked them, how are they feeling? Or have you even listened? Now, sure, you're stressed, right? You're a parent. The word parent means stress. But do you know if they are stressed? Have you had them evaluated? Nearly 5 million children in the US have some type of serious mental illness. In any given year, 20% of American children will be diagnosed with some sort of mental illness. That's a lot. Today we're going to be discussing our children and their mental health status. The most common mental health conditions in children are anxiety disorders, ADHD, that stands for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, disruptive disorder, eating disorders, learning and communication disorders. All of those are typically the most common disorders and mental health conditions in our children today. Our guests today are going to be educating us on children's mental health and what we can do as a community to help. We'll also speak with someone who has a personal story of their childhood experiences as a young teen. We're going to take a quick break, real quick. So now's the perfect time to call up your friends and tell them you're missing the ValTrenda Show and you don't want to do that. So call them, text them, send them a message right now. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the ValTrenda Show. Now, I know that you're feeling so good walking outside in this nice Florida fall weather. It's nice and crisp. Actually, it's still pretty hot. But anyway, welcome to the fall season of Florida here. If you're just now joining us, we're discussing children and mental health. Now, it may be a broad topic, but make sure you continue to watch as we dive in on what may be a few of your concerns. Our guest today is Karen Perez. Karen is a part of the Hillsborough County Board Member District 6. She's also a licensed clinical social worker, a therapist, and a counselor. That's a lot. She has tons of titles, but I'll allow her to pour into our melanated community with loads of information. Check this out. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the ValTrenda Show. As you know, this is my favorite part of this show. This is when we get a chance to kind of dive in, take a deep dive into the educational portion of mental health. And this week we have the pleasure of having Karen Perez, who is she's over District 6 over the Hillsborough County School District. And I'm going to let her announce exactly who she is and what she does. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. We are so grateful to have you on our show. So tell us, you're on the Hillsborough County School Board District. You sit on the board. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. I'm an
And
elected official.
oh, great, great. And so you are over District 6, right?
Correct. And that's countywide.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. So let me ask you this, and I'm going to just go straight for it. Obviously, the show is mental health for the melanated. So we're talking about mental health as it pertains to our Black and Brown communities. Tell me, how do you feel today as a society that we are facing mental health issues in our youth? How do you feel that the society is dealing with those issues?
Right now, I feel as a licensed clinical social worker that we still are falling short for our Black and Hispanic youth and Asian, we still have not met that mark because, as a society, we refuse to acknowledge how we affect our youth, as far as the things that we do as society and that the effects that has on the mental health of our children.
The interesting part is that I don't think it is brought to our children. I think right now in society, we're just getting to a place where mental health is becoming, oh, I didn't know that was a thing, right? You agree with that? And so
yes, I do.
I don't think it's really reached the children yet. Like we are as adults are just now getting to the place of, hey, let's deal with mental health. I didn't know that was a thing. What do you feel about that?
Well, when I ran for office in 2018, my alarm was when children at the age of 8 were committing suicide. And as a society, we weren't ringing, an alarm, a siren.
I agree.
That we were publicizing that in a newspaper, but nobody stopped to say, hey, wait a minute. When a child who's 8 years old is able to verbalize and follow through with suicide attempts,
right,
there's a problem.
Right.
We have a societal problem that is leaking into our children. And we have to, as a society, acknowledge this.
I agree.
But when I was running for office, I was told, no, mental health is not an issue. And that was in 2018.
Wow.
But then I noticed that in 2019, the headlines and a lot of our elected officials started talking and giving language to mental health. And it started being pushed up the ranks of really important issues in our society.
Yeah.
And that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane.
It is. So if we're looking at only 2 years ago, imagine the trauma that our Black, Hispanic, children of color have already dealt with or have been affected by.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we're looking at where our children are normally 8, 5, 6 hours a day, that's in our schools.
Right. Right.
And so I kept, one of the platforms that I noticed that I would have a larger voice in was in our Hillsborough County schools. We're the seventh largest in the nation. And if I could affect change in the schools and provide that springboard for our children
Right.
in the arena of mental health, then possibly I would be able to get the ear of our legislators, of our
Yeah.
senators, of our congressmen, to be able to, you know, ring that bell.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
being that the bell is, you feel like the bell is now being rung. It's been rung a while ago, but it
Mhm.
seems like leadership, our legislature, all of that, our mayors, our just everybody is now all of a sudden hearing the bell.
Yes,
Like the
yes,
bell's been ringing. We've been
yes.
having issues with the children, committing suicide,
Mhm.
things of that. The bell has been ringing, but
Yeah,
now the people of leadership are now hearing the bell. So now
yeah.
that they're starting to hear the bell ringing, what do you think our community needs to know about recognizing signs in our youth to get the children the help that they need?
So now our society, especially our community of color, because Hispanics or blacks and Asians don't normally go to a therapist.
Right.
You know, they our communities normally are, hey, if you have problems, you leave them home.
Yeah.
But we have to embrace. We
Absolutely.
have got to embrace that when you go to the doctor for diabetes, when you go to the doctor for a heart condition, you're seeking out professional help. You're seeking out a professional that's going to guide you to be better. The same way with your mind, that you have to seek professional guidance.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
not going out telling your business, you're going out seeking a
The help.
professional
Yeah.
net that's
Yeah.
going to help not just you, but the entire family.
Yeah. I
You
love that,
know,
Karen. I absolutely, I love that because, our parents, they teach us, you're sick, go to the doctor.
correct.
But that's when they're talking about being sick in our bodies, physical sickness. But what
Yeah,
about when it comes to our mental sickness? Are
correct.
are we just as strong in our faith?
Mhm.
Are we just as strong in our push towards people to go get the help? What's the difference
Correct.
between a physician and a psychiatrist or a licensed mental health counselor or a licensed mental social worker, right?
Right, right,
What's the difference in seeing a doctor for for your physical health and
right.
seeing a doctor for your mental health?
There you go. I often have to really, really break it down to families
Mm-hmm.
that there's doctors that specialize in all there's a podiatrist, there's a dentist, there's
Yeah.
a audiologist. There's doctors that specialize in all different areas of the body.
Yeah.
But when we come to talk about the mind, people run. They don't want to acknowledge
Why
that
do you think
part,
that is?
because always society has always um, put together or enmeshed the mind with crazy. And I
Ah, bingo.
think, yeah, and I think we have to start, you know, removing that stigma. We
Yeah.
have to start saying, if you go to the doctor to take care of your teeth, you're going to have a healthy smile. You're going to have a
Yeah.
healthy, you know, if you go to the doctor for your mind, you're going to be healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's we have to stop putting the crazy factor and start putting healthy.
Yeah.
into that
Absolutely.
space.
Absolutely, Karen. Thank you so much. Now, my last question is, what policies, and I know you can only speak for, Hillsborough County,
Mhm.
and what policies are we trying to put in place to, one, ring that bell louder
Yes.
and help other people, not only people in leadership, but the teachers who are assigned to these students, the coaches, and then the parents. What policies is Hillsborough County putting in place to help ring that bell louder and help other people hear it?
So when I first came on board, I really pushed advocacy for our students to allow them to go and see their psychologists, their social workers, their counselors
Mm-hmm.
during school hours.
Yeah.
That if a student said, I need to go talk to someone, that
Mm-hmm.
the teachers allow them to go and speak.
Good.
You know,
Good.
that we place a signage, indicating that there's the social worker on, because a lot of students didn't realize that they had those supports in the schools.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But even more so, the first year that I was elected, and that was in 2019, and then 2020 came, and things happened.
Right. Right. Right.
But in 2019, I did a mental health tour,
Ooh.
and I was shocked to find out that there were several parents who attended this mental health tour that had a child who committed suicide, who
Yikes.
had absolutely no idea of the services that
Mhm.
Hillsborough County Schools provided to not only the student, but their families.
Yeah.
And so I worked on, working with our legislators
Mm-hmm.
in trying to pass law for the entire state of Florida
Good.
to allow the mental health days.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it passed in the House and fell in the Senate. They didn't even hear it in the Senate.
Yikes.
But what that would allow is that if a parent called in for a mental health day,
Mm-hmm.
that the school would provide the resources for those parents who did not have those resources, who never heard of the resources. They
Wow.
would be provided and armed with those resources. But Florida continues not to acknowledge.
Mm,
But I'm hoping that the more we push, the more that our senators would hear how
absolutely.
different physical and mental health are, because they're two separate things.
Right, right,
They're not
right.
one and the same.
And
And
neither one of them are more important than the other. They're
correct,
just as
correct.
important. They're both as just as important, right?
Yes. And if not, one is way more so, because our mental health could
Yes.
deteriorate our physical health so fast,
Correct.
you
Correct.
know,
Yeah.
and and if we take care of our students' mental well-being,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to excel in school.
Absolutely.
They're
Absolutely.
going to be able to focus. They're going to be able to, and if we're finding out what's happening with our students, we'll be able to provide those resources, to their families
Yeah.
that they're probably needing,
Yeah.
but it's just, I'm going to keep working.
I'm
I'm going to
glad.
keep fighting for our students, because it's so important. I am not a licensed clinical social worker. I am a licensed clinical social worker.
That's
That's
right.
what my passion is. That's
Yeah.
what I do. And that's my life.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue fighting for our students no matter what,
Thank
because they
you.
need somebody to, get in front row and
Absolutely.
fight and
Absolutely.
absolutely fight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. This insight that you are allowing my audience as well as our communities, to bring awareness and help the our children, our Black and brown children, everybody that's in the school district, all of our children, um
Yes.
to bring light to this area. So thank you so much. Thank you for working so hard in the Hillsborough County School District on this particular topic. You are greatly appreciated. Tell us what we can do in the near future to help get these bills passed, or whatever we need to do. What is it that we can continue to do as a community?
Speak to your senators, let them know that, how important our mental health of our students are.
Yeah,
They're our future, and we need them. We need them ready and prepared, to take the lead, and their mental health is so vital in that being able to prepare them as leaders in the future. And, I just want the parents to know that, the resources are there in their schools. And all they have to do is, pick up the phone and call.
Good.
But, if their students are struggling, if they're struggling, all they have to do is call the schools.
Thank you so
No
much.
judgment, no
Right,
judgment,
right. Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
we just want them in a good place.
Yes. Thank you again so much, Karen. It's been a
My
pleasure. We are going to add all your information to our screen so that everybody can
Thank you.
know who you are and how we can get a hold of you. Thank you again so much. It's been a pleasure.
It has been also, and thank you for honoring me with this interview.
No problem. Now, wasn't that a wealth of knowledge? Hopefully, you're able to grasp onto that information and apply it to your own family and community. Thank you, Karen. Now, next up is the recovery room. Don't go far, because we have much more for you right here on the ValTrenda Show.
School experiences certainly look different today than they did before COVID. Let's consider the way in which COVID and other natural stressors combine to have a profound effect on the mental health of our children. Helping our kids find balance and peace of mind is the key to their well-being. There are methods that you can use to help create a sense of balance and cope with stress. Create a daily routine. Encourage your child to share their experiences and just talk to your kids. You'll be amazed at what you learn.
The past 18 months has been a real challenge with the country as a whole, or even with the world. We've seen a global pandemic.
Aetna CVS is working with local governments and communities like yours. We're helping with children and adults who are struggling with depression and anxiety. Call the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay or visit online.
It's that time again. And for many of you, this is your favorite segment, because this is where you get to relate, because we're talking stress, and that's relatable. And this is where you get to experience what a real group therapy session looks like. Now, if you wish to be a part of the ValTrenda Show and you want to participate in the recovery room, please visit the website, thevaltrendashow.com. Now, remember, this is real life. These are real life clients with real life issues and real life feelings. And this is their real life. Now, welcome back into the recovery room. Where you have to make the decision for yourself at some point to say enough is enough. You know, here's one of, and then we're going to you, Danielle. Here's one of the tools that it takes to help live a stress-free life. Attitude. Your attitude towards something. 2, your care and love for yourself. And if I had to put them in a number of importance or priority, it would be that one would be number one. The love that you have for yourself speaks so much to how you allow other people to treat you. The love you have for yourself will force others to treat you a certain way. I'm going to give you an example. I just started a new job. You know, I work a full-time job and then I come home and work a full-time job, right? So I just started a new full-time job probably about 2 months ago. And I'm a supervisor in accounting and all that kind of stuff. So hired a whole new team, all older women, middle age, young. I don't know how old the youngest is, but some young lady came up to me today. She said, I have to tell you something. I said, okay, what is it? And she says, you are so beautiful. And I was like, thank you, you too. And I'm like, you beautiful too, girl. You know, I don't mind throwing compliments right back at you. Miss me, go right back to you, right? And she said, no. She said, it's something in the way you carry yourself where you know, and if I had more time to spend with her, I would have told her, if you only knew that at one point I wanted to kill myself, because I didn't, part of the reason was I didn't think I was pretty enough. I had so much stress going through my divorce. I couldn't take care of my kids. I had to leave my house. I had to give up my vehicle. And excuse me. Those are the moments that define a woman's strength. And those are the moments that when you look back, somebody called me joking the other day, you still got that truck? I remember when you had to crank that bitch up with a knife. Well, no, he was like, with a fork. I said, first of all, it was a knife. Okay. And yes, I had to get under the hood just to start my SUV up. And it didn't have any AC. And I had left my ex in August, and the roughest time was me having to transport my children to school and back and forth to summer camp in a big old Ford Expedition 1998 with no AC. And I couldn't turn it on with the key. And I was losing my house. And let's not even think about what we're going to eat for dinner. We ain't even think about that. So when you go through those type of things, again, it defines the strength of a woman.
Yes.
And when you get to a point to where other people are, you cannot allow others to come in and disrupt the peace that you've built for yourself. I built this. No one will ever be able to take that away because I built it with my own hands. So the courage you see and the strength that you see and the fact that no one will ever be able to come in and disrupt that, it's because I have built that love for myself. The same love you grew for your husband, Teresa. The same love you had when you rubbed your stomach, when you were pregnant with your baby, Stacy. The same love you developed for your brand new husband, Danielle. That love you must have for yourself. Times that by 10. Because if you have a love that's so deep for yourself, You will never allow anyone to come in and destroy whatever peace you do have. The strength and the courage has to be strong enough to turn down the negativity that other people try to bring your way. It doesn't come out the sky. It comes from within. God himself has created a supernatural strength and placed it in only women. But that same strength that we have, that we can work like I'm working, a full-time job, and then turn around and come home and work another full-time job, prepare dinner, get everybody fed, and hopefully I got enough battery juice in my battery for my little boyfriend later. Okay. All of that. We have all of that. It's only in women. Only in women. But the love that you have for yourself has to be strong enough to where when other people try to bring that stress towards you, you have strength enough to fight that off. You're wise enough to identify it and wise enough to identify it, strong enough to accept it or reject it. Does everybody understand that? And welcome, Janika. I know you're in late, and I know you probably had to work. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's okay. So remember at all times that we have to love. It's love. It's the love we have for ourselves that helps us to control and manage the stress. Think about what stress does to you physically, emotionally, and mentally. It will weigh on you. And I'm sorry, but I love myself enough to not want to deal with something that God told me I didn't have to deal with. You don't have to deal with that. Will it come? Absolutely yes. Do you have to accept it? Absolutely not. It's getting pretty deep, right? It's getting pretty deep. These women are so courageous and so brave. If you're brave and you want to be a part of season 2, click that link on the ValTrendaShow.com. So why don't we all just take a breather? We'll return with more of the ValTrenda Show. Look, I know it and you know it. You do a lot. The energy that comes from your outlet is remarkable. You perform, you work boundlessly, endless hours. You take care of your family. You put up with others and their chaos. And you put effortless energy into your relationships. You pour into others emotionally. But when do you take the time to look yourself in the mirror and speak life into yourself? When do you make time for you? Having a healthy relationship with yourself allows you to have a healthy relationship with others. If we all just learn the basic essentials of communication to be able to communicate effectively, we will have longer lasting relationships. And eventually we will probably prevent the reasons for divorce by communication. That would go down as well. So I want to remind you take care of yourself. Love on yourself. Show yourself self-care and love and appreciation. Build that healthy relationship with yourself so you can have healthy relationships with others. You want to know how to do that? Well, I just happen to have a book called The 7 Gems to Glowing Up that will help you dig deep into what's going on inside of you to learn how to take care of you. And eventually, the glow up in which you seek will come naturally.
Feeling stressed, worried, having a hard time with COVID-19, school, life at home, or friends? There's a new tool to help kids and teens cope. It teaches strategies to help with managing stress and worries, like this one. Sometimes we are bothered by unhelpful thoughts and fall into thinking traps.
Could someone be saying bad things about me to Jordan? Maybe that's why I wasn't invited.
There's a way you can turn your thoughts around to help you cope better with situations that are out of your control. It's called Catch It, Check It, Change It.
To learn more about this and other strategies, and to try the new free tools, go to this website.
In today's show, we discuss children and mental health. Karen Perez gave us some information on how to help our children in the community and as it pertains to the subject. We also took a deeper dive into our group therapy sessions. Now, since we're talking about children and mental health, let me let you in on a little secret that you may not know about me. I'm addicted to Will Smith. I'm also addicted to watching Family Matters. I know, it's kind of juvenile, right? Or is it? First of all, let me remind you, this is a no judgment zone right here. So don't be judging me about Will Smith and Family Matters. But think about it. Is there something wrong with escaping the tears and negativity of the world and just indulge in something that takes me back to my childhood? Sometimes I just want to be that 11-year-old girl watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, drooling over Will Smith, or while I may still be 30 doing the same thing, that's beside the point. It takes me back to my childhood when there were no bills and no stress, just toys and written fun notes of all kind of explicit, fun teenager stuff, passing notes through class, or maybe just laughing at Steve trip over the same coffee table that was on set for 9 whole seasons. But it makes me warm. It makes me feel fun. It makes me happy. It makes me happy. Now, maybe your childhood wasn't all that happy, or maybe your teen years or your college years were. Whatever makes you happy, sometimes it's okay to indulge in that. Be a kid again. Maybe, perhaps, you can recreate your childhood. So it's okay to go out there and be a kid again, even if it's just for a weekend. But have fun. Now, a special thank you to everyone on my team here at the ValTrenda Show for making this all possible. Until next time, don't let anyone or anything steal your happiness. Be kind to one another, give yourself grace, and by God, show love.